That reminds me of one of the questions that was on. I don't know who submitted that. We're talking about like homelessness, like in the country. Like, don't you think like these big churches should play a role in homelessness in the country?
Yeah, they should.
Is that tough
They
question?
should. But how much role should they play before the fucking government plays?
I'm saying they get all these tax cuts, and a matter of fact, they don't pay any taxes, and they have like the space in the mega churches. Like, shouldn't it be a place for rehabilitation?
I agree with that. I agree with that. But we pay how many fucking hundreds of billions for fucking the military and shit for fucking shit that we don't even want to use, for fucking goddamn nuclear arms that we don't even want to use, that we don't use, on how many years going on. I don't know how many fucking nukes we have that we don't fucking use and don't use.
I agree.
We don't want to use them motherfuckers.
Yeah,
but we're spending on this shit to it's like, come on, man. We can use this money for totally different shit. It's like, come on, man.
Who asked that?
I don't want to hear that. I don't hear about the churches need to be stepping the fuck up. Come on, man.
No, for real, that's probably a B question.
That sounds like a B question. That's a great question. That's probably a B question. I definitely voted for that shit. Like, how do you resolve some shit like that? This is supposed to be the land of free, like the land of golden opportunities, and why so many homeless people?
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Some of the reasons,
and a lot of them are fucking homeless veterans.
Yeah, that's a fact too.
It's like, what the fuck, man?
No, so it's two things to that, and I always do the two things. But the first thing is, I think churches should play a role in that, but at the same time, churches would have to have some extra resources, because a lot of churches, if you think about it, and not necessarily with mega churches, but even the mega churches, you would have to pay somebody to actually watch the homeless people, or pay somebody to actually cater to them and throughout their entire experience while they're there.
But you just said, all right, if you just said, church we go to, right, cool, like we need the funds. But when you say mega church, the pastors are riding around in fucking helicopters and Bentleys and shit like that. So like
Royce,
yeah,
right.
They live in more.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. But at the same time, you still need the resources. So like, even though the churches, I mean, and the pastor,
they're the resources.
No, but the resources, the pastor or somebody has to, I mean, not necessarily pay for them, but somebody has to be able to support them. So even though the pastor might have all the money, or a pastor shouldn't have all, I'm not necessarily all the money, but the pastor has the resources and the support for himself. You know what I'm saying? Like, you actually have to have adequate support for a homeless person. And then with the homeless people, especially because Jen does a lot of stuff with like the homeless people. A lot of the time,
rehabilitation.
Yeah, no, I agree with the rehabilitation. That's what I'm just saying about the resources to actually allow them to do the correct opportunities for them. But sometimes with the homeless people, and this might play into that too, but sometimes with homeless people, they're homeless by choice. Like they could go to the shelters and they can have the shelters and everything. But at the same time, with shelters come restrictions and come like rules and regulations that they must follow. And so like actually being out like during the wintertime, like Jennifer is like the hypothermia season, they are literally like making sure that people can't be on the streets, but people rather be on the streets because if they're on the streets, they can go out and smoke, they can go out and drink and do whatever they want to, as opposed to in a homeless shelter, they can't, they're not supposed to. They're not supposed to be high, or they're not supposed to have any alcohol or outside influence. But if they're out on the streets, they can do and come as they choose.
Yeah, I never looked at that perspective.
Yeah. And that's the same thing with like homeless veterans too. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like basically, you know what I'm saying? You've been on a strict ass schedule your entire life. And then now you actually get a little bit of freedom, or, you know what I'm saying? You had the opportunity now to not necessarily listen to anybody, go and come as you please and different things of that nature. And I know their lives are all, maybe to us, it might be messed up, but at the same time, they have some bit of freedom. And some people, don't get me wrong, I know a lot of people probably are not in that situation want to be, but some people are in that situation just based off of they would rather be on their own and following and abiding by their own rules as opposed to type of structure.
Yeah, I actually know somebody like that. That basically they don't want to participate in the system, so they pretty much don't do nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like straight up. You know what I'm saying? Like not even like, and literally you became homeless to the point where they, actually had to start, with yeah. So yeah, living in shelters and all that shit. You know what I'm saying? Just staying in shelters overnight, all that shit.
That's
So yeah.
That's the conversation I had with my cousin. Y'all know Ishmael or whatever the fuck. We had a conversation. It's like it's basically some niggas. It's about your level of comfortability. Some niggas don't mind living on the streets, living in a fucking tent or whatever the fuck. Some niggas might want to live in a fucking apartment. Some niggas might want to live in a townhouse. Some niggas want to live in a fucking mansion or whatever. It's about your level of comfortability, what you're comfortable with living with for yourself, anyways. Yourself and your child or whatever the fuck. So I don't know, dog.
Yeah, but hey, Corey, at the same time, you can say that when people have the ambition, but some people just don't have the ambition, and they are literally drawing a short deck of cards. And when you draw a short deck of cards, you only play what you can play with. So,
yeah, but yeah.
I think
it's because none of us in this fucking shit came from no fucking silver spoon, dog. So yeah, but
I know that, but some people just don't have the wherewithal to like come up like that. So like in those positions, or even in other positions when people got like mental health issues, like you got.
Yeah, the mental health issues is a totally different story. It's a totally different story.
Well, homelessness and mental health issues, I think that shit is correlated. You don't think so?
Absolutely. Like,
yeah, I would agree with that. That might be 90% of the shit.
I think that's like 90% of that shit. And I think there is a small percentage of people who actually choose to live that way, but most of them I think is mental health issues.
And then even still, like actually with my job too, now I think about it, there's a lot of youth that are homeless as well, and some of the reason that youth go into the homeless system is because like they had a disagreement or their family structure is all fucked up and they don't want to live in the same house, and so they would either rather live on the street or find like a neighborhood housing that allows them to be what's it called. So it's a lot of different aspects.
Hey, Al, I don't know if this applied to you, but one of my other men, he started like coaching like youth basketball, and he ran into that shit a lot of times.
Yeah. You said he do what? He
like youth
basketball.
Youth basketball coaching, and he ran like niggas. Like you want them to do all this, and like they ain't even got like a home to go to.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's real.
And that was one of the sticking points too about like, you know what I'm saying, like why one of the reasons that they were trying to get that's why one of the reasons that schools was a safe space for some people, because it allowed people to get that only opportunity to get a real meal based off of
that's the best meal.
Yeah, meal. Yeah.
And one thing I could say, like during this Corona shit, like they were still giving out meals over the summer. Like, I don't know who organized that shit. That's one thing. At least, like, I don't know if it's a county thing or a Maryland thing. Around here, they were still giving out meals.
That's federal government.
All right, so yeah.
That's federal government. That's USDA. Yeah. They got DC too. Where you go to your school and then
still do it too, for real. If you're not back to school yet, you can still do it.
Yeah, they go to. So my homegirl was actually just talking about like the neighborhood buses, the buses that actually supposed to come into your neighborhood. They literally come with the bag lunches and shit, and like basically go to the normal if it's a school day. And when they go to the bus stop, you literally can just go pick up your bag lunches or whatever.
What's in them bag lunches, though? What's in them bag?
Don't matter, bro. It's a meal.
Yeah, exactly. It's better than nothing. And also, I think, and also even the other thing, just as far as a lot of those kids, and talking about mental health issues, like a lot of those kids live in households with parents, or not even just necessarily parents, but what you call guardians with mental health issues and misdiagnosed, like undiagnosed. You know what I'm saying? And a kid growing up thinking, oh, that's just mom, oh, that's just dad. You know what I'm saying? Oh, that's just auntie, and she batshit crazy, and the kid is normalizing the child's mind. You know what I'm saying? Like And then just going to school is the only way they can get through that shit. And that shit is some real shit. That goes on a lot, you know what I'm saying? So, it's the same shit though. And then
I got put on the front.
I also have go ahead.
And you got put on the front the whole time you're there, like everything okay.
Yep, and then you gotta go to school exactly and act like everything okay. And then that shit is real. A lot of kids go through that shit. And it also had me thinking about how like this COVID shit got a lot of kids who had the opportunity to get away out of that dysfunctional households they live in, and they can't. And they had to be around them fucked up parents and guardians or whoever they be around all day, every day. But you know what I'm saying? Like, can't they no escape?
Yeah. Trump touched on that shit too. He was like, and domestic violence and all that shit. People inside.
He said of the uprising and divorce, too.
But it also helped them little niggas that was getting bullied because they weren't going to school with fucking Gucci on and whatever fuck, so you could stay home and sit in the fucking house.
Yeah, this shit is still not. We can normalize not like human interaction.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah,
temporary.
Shit is fucked up.
Yeah.